Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at. Welcome in. Welcome to the Legend of Zelda Link to the Past Randomizer Tournament. I'm James FNX, and I'm joined today by cool Papa Bell. Papa, how you doing?
I am doing good. Excited to get into round 2 of this tournament. We saw a lot of great matches in round 1 already, and now that we're down to the top 32 runners, they're just going to get even better.
Yeah, this is a great matchup we got here for you today. Game 1 of this best-of-3 series. On the left, GanonsGoneWild picked up a win in round 1 against PH 112358. And on the right, HayfieldBay, who knocked off last year's tournament champion Obscure Lifeform in the first round.
Yeah, that was a tough first round matchup. I'm sure neither one of them was happy to see each other that early on in the brackets, but yeah, GG's to HayfieldBay for taking down the returning champion there and looking to continue the run here. This is game 1 between these two in their second round matchup.
Yeah, and today we're playing Mick Boss, so that's Map and Compass Shuffle. So the maps and compasses are out of the dungeons, left a little bit more in the way of items. And then our bosses are shuffled in between dungeons. There's going to be 1 copy of each of the 10 dungeon bosses, and then 3 duplicates somewhere out in the world.
Yeah, and so that mimics the redo of the Light World bosses in Ganon's Tower, but those could be absolutely any boss that gets repeated twice. They don't have to be in GT. So yeah, we could run into a lot of weird stuff out there.
Yeah, and the other nice thing about this boss shuffle, other than lots of entertainment for us, is the compasses are now worth a little bit if you find them. They'll tell you what the boss is in these dungeons.
Yeah, we'll get the rare in-dungeon map check, which you hardly ever see.
X buttons are going to get a workout today.
And both of our runners following the same path here, just going from Sanctuary straight over into the Lost Woods. 5 rupees out of the tree pole there.
Not really surprised about these opening routes being very similar. Escape is a little bit more valuable not having a map in there. You want to make sure you're able to clear it out when you head to that area if you do choose to do escape at some point. It is on the slower side of checks in the Light World at the start of the game, but a little bit more valuable, so a little bit more incentive to try and get there when you have a weapon.
And interesting. Okay, yeah, both runners are going to save and quit then out of the Lost Woods there. So probably that means they're going to grab this chest out of Link's house. And HayfieldBay is going to buy bombs. Interesting. I thought we were just going to go left and farm some bombs from the 50-50 bushes, but neither one of them is doing that.
Yeah, some real diversions here. I wonder where Hayfield's going to take these bombs. Is it going to take them to Kakariko or take them to the escape?
Or straight over to Saha's closet, maybe.
That's also a good a potential option there for him.
Because I feel like if it were... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, GanonsGoneWild just going to do classic Uncle route.
I feel like if you were going to take the bombs to Kakariko, you would just buy them in Kakariko rather than go that extra screen right.
Right. So. Yeah. Uncle Router's in shambles.
So you got to just believe in the Uncle route. You got to do it even before you go to Sanctuary.
That's right. Sarasala's Closet, loaded with a lot of health and a little bit of money. We do find out Desert Palace is our green pendant today. GanonsGoneWild getting really lucky with those 50-50 bombs, getting 2 on his first trip, and is going to take those 2 and move on.
And this is a really interesting play from HayfieldBay. It's just going straight into Eastern here. Like you said, we get a little bit more value out of these dungeon dips because of the map and compass shuffle, right? So dungeon items are not locked inside their own dungeons. But I think also boss shuffle sort of raises the likelihood of double dips. You know, you get in, you get to the boss or see what the boss is, but then you can't beat it. And so, maybe HayfieldBay is not as worried about that risk, getting a little bit less penalized for those double dips.
Yeah, I think that's what's going through his mind right now. You're not able to even get to the boss here. You don't have a bow, but it doesn't matter. There's very few bosses you can kill with minimal equipment. Did get a map for Tower of Hera and GanonsGoneWild. Check that. It's one of our 5-6 crystals today. And, light big key, not stuck in the dark rooms.
Yeah, I think with the health they're on, HayfieldBay should be able to get through that dark room, but it is sort of annoying and a little bit slow to do without a sword, depending on just how good your muscle memory is for it. Well, I should say a sword or something else to help you see in the dark.
So far, just map at Rico. And nothing paying out in Eastern Palace either in logic. HayfieldBay is going to continue on. There's our sword. Sword number 1 in the well.
Ooh, GGW finding the boots there on the bottle vendor.
That's going to speed things up significantly for GGW. Hayfield shouldn't be too late to those boots, but is going to lose a bunch of time going through these rooms. Swordless, bootless, without any way of seeing where he's at. Does get through, though. Really nicely done. A mirror for GGW.
Also feels good now that GanonsGoneWild is doing Kakariko sort of south to north. Could potentially go up to Bonk Rocks right now, but probably going to save that for a save and quit out of Sank at some point.
Yeah, I'm going to wait until he gets a glove to get to the back of Escape for that, probably. Right now, he's going to head over and take a look at South Shore. Yeah, either east to west, or just kind of splitting this work up between Mini Moldrum Cave and Ice Rod Cave versus Dam and Agahnim.
So the reason why HayfieldBay is probably avoiding Kakariko a little bit is you're sometimes looking for things that open up more checks in Kakariko before you get there. So something like the flute to activate, or in the best case scenario, maybe you just get Dark World access before you get.
What is going on with this Mini Moldorm?
Yeah,
dropped 2 bombs directly on it, and it didn't damage it.
I think it's like a particular frame about like when the bomb lands on the ground when it's close to exploding. It's something weird like that screws with the hitbox or something. But yeah, things seem to be going the other way. That Kakariko has all kinds of stuff that would make all of these other checks faster. So HayfieldBay just sort of losing that coin flip here for which one to go to first.
Yeah, we did find the Moon Pearl in Mini Moldorm Cave while we were watching the Jukes. And GGW with that Moon Pearl is going to decide to do a fake flipper here and take a look at least waterfall chests. See if he chooses to go under the bridge as well.
Pause buffer strats from HayfieldBay there.
Yeah, these crabs deal 2 hearts of damage on green mail. One hit would take HayfieldBay down before getting this check. GGW not going to bother with Zora. Doesn't have the cash. Doesn't want to really have anything to try and fake flipper the ledge check. So leave it for now. Go check under the bridge with these with Waterwalk active.
Starting to think here, we have seen a fair bit of the stuff in Logic with our runners going opposite ways at the start. Where is our progression going to be? It feels like it almost has to be in Hyrule Castle at this point.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. We also have Dam and Agahnim. I don't think either of those have been checked by the runner yet.
Right, I forgot we skipped the dam.
Yeah, GGW decided to split these South Shore checks up east and west based on having the boots and really wanting to kind of push these Sphere 1 locations that are out of the way. And also, I probably just hoping to pull off Agahnim by finding something else in Mini Moldorm or Ice Rod Cave or in these water checks where nothing really showed up. That's an Ether Medallion. Don't know if we'll need that or not, but good weapon for clearing some rooms late in the game.
Yeah, especially since at this point we're at a sword and a moon pearl, but nothing else toward Dark World access. Those medallions can come in really handy if we wind up having to do Aga in the near future. Particularly on Fighter Sword.
GGW not scouting the ledge, just heading to Agahnim, which has a hammer.
Excellent. We'll put that commentator curse to good use there for the runners.
Yeah, thankfully, HayfieldBay has not checked out the dam yet either, so likely going to pick that up now that he's got these boots. Really, at this point, it's Bonk Rocks in the front of Escape. And now the mountain.
Indeed, we've got just the one check in Logic on the mountain, but runners will easily be able to do the old man as well.
We got a lot more. We got a mirror and a hammer.
Mirror.
We've got the entirety of Paradox Cave and Spiral Cave, as well as the two checks on the mountain.
Yep, that's the money. I totally forgot about the mirror. Is that a...
That's a Samaria on Lumberjack Ledge. Can't say for certain whether we need that one or not yet, but highly likely.
Yeah, we have seen a couple crystals on things that are not cane locked, so slightly higher than average chance, but still pretty good odds that we're going to need that cane sooner or later.
And this isn't looking great for Hayfield. He's going to do these uncle checks, and now that he has a sword, is very likely to just hop into the front of Escape, or there could be something up there, and it may take GanonsGoneWild a little bit to get there if it is, but the treasures appear to be on the mountain.
Yeah, and for a little long-term speculation, if there does wind up being something good in the castle for HayfieldBay, the early mirror does certainly help you get back to Hyrule Castle later in the game. You can loop it in with a trip to the pyramid, or maybe Pyramid Ferry, so... But we'll see if anything actually turns up here in the escape sequence.
Yeah, even worse for HayfieldBay with that Samaria on Lumberjack Ledge. We're likely to have GanonsGoneWild just do Escape anyways, just because having to do Agahnim at some point. So. $300 in the first chest of Escape. A nice bit of money. But it does mean that nothing else in the Escape at this point is in Logic.
Yes, because theoretically you could take that key off the key guard and go waste it in the sewers somehow. Everyone's
Net on
favorite.
Spec Rock, very, very highly required item.
Yes, it's the spring ball of Link to the Past. I shouldn't say that. Spring ball's actually useful sometimes. And a big bust in Hyrule Castle for HayfieldBay, unfortunately.
One check left there, out of logic at Dark Cross. Meanwhile, GGW hopping into Tower of Hera, which is a crystal, one of our 5/6s. Do find the small key, so we are leaving an item behind in this dungeon. And yeah, nothing in escape at all.
There's a book in Tower of Hera, which book is a terrible item, but if you're going to find it somewhere, at least being right next to one of the tablets makes it less bad.
Yeah. Also opens up Desert Palace for a couple checks. And Magic Powder also in Tower Hera. That'll be another check in Kakariko. And we've got Helmasaur King, and GanonsGoneWild decides, I'm not going to fight this right now.
Yeah, leaving there is an interesting choice. The as Incoherent is saying in chat, killable but sucks. Is that the lamp? Is that the lamp on Ether tablet?
That is the lamp on Ether tablet.
Oh my gosh.
What a game. I actually really like this decision from GDW. You're likely going to have to come up to the mountain again. It is more likely than not that Turtle Rock is a crystal. It is more likely than not that you're going to have to find some items up here. And by the time you come back up here, you're going to have a much quicker fight with Helmasaur. And also, you're more likely to have a hook shot, and you'll be able to get back up there very quickly.
Yeah, exactly, right? If you come back with that hook shot, that's less time that you're spending on the second trip up the tower.
Yep.
So HayfieldBay has the flute activated, is fluting straight to 7 to do the dam. We'll see if he winds up picking up Agahnim's cave before going up the mountain.
I honestly can't imagine not doing that. It's very quick to get over there. You got boots, you got a flute to get over to 6. You just don't want to leave yourself the chance of going to the mountain for nothing.
Yeah, for HayfieldBay, he would have Hera only, but no fire source currently. So that's another thing you don't want to leave behind in Agahnim's cave before you. Oh my goodness.
What a seed! What a seed, everyone!
I think Chad has put the logic together there that the game wants you to get your book, go down to that second sword on Desert Ledge, go back up for Ether Tablet, and then you'll have a lamp to officially do Aga in logic.
Yep.
This is a seed that definitely exists.
It's hard to fault GGW for choosing Eastern over Desert here. 6 items in this area versus 2 potentially in Desert. And not having scouted that ledge, doesn't know that sword's there.
Yeah, that was another little upside about Hayfield heading to Agahnim there, was getting that extra ledge info.
So when GGW does head over to Desert, really going to hope for a glove to show up as one of those 2 items. But first, it's time to get cursed.
Oh, that's big.
That's really big. That's another sword. GGW can just avoid the desert area, head back to Hera, get this lamp, probably take on Helmasaur at this point. We'll see if HayfieldBay decides to try and take on Helmasaur with just this fighter sword. Knowing that the second sword's out there and it's going to see the book very quickly, may decide otherwise.
Looks like he is going to head over to the east side of Death Mountain first. I'm a fan of this play. If you find the hook shot on the right, then it saves you a lot of time in Hera, and particularly with the boots to get back a little bit faster than you would otherwise.
Yeah, I agree. Our first bottle on the floating island. I don't know if GGW got to actually scout that or not. It was having a little problems with the dead rocks when he was over in that area. GGW got the lamp and just decided not to head back into Hera. Interesting with 2 items on the table there, but
yeah, just not interested in dealing with that Helmasaur right now. He is more of a pain than usual because there's that pit in the middle of the Moldorm room, and if he's standing over top of it, then he also has a tendency to be invulnerable when he maybe shouldn't be.
yeah, and GGW also winded that fight originally with, I think, 3 or 4 bombs. Tend to want to use bombs in the Moldorm Arena Helmasaur fights to try and make it a little bit safer, so you're trying to avoid those pits, but not an option for him there. First 2 checks, big key, small key for GGW.
Ooh, flippers, which does nothing at the moment, I think. We've already seen those flipper checks.
There are 2 checks we've not seen that GGW now has access to, and that's Zora and Zora Ledge. That does require a lot of money.
Yes, we were not logically able to get to Zora before. That's true.
Temperate sword for GGW. No glove still.
So from the looks of this play, GanonsGoneWild is headed into Hyrule Castle, and I think is likely to go up to Aga after this when it turns out to be nothing.
Yeah. And with the small key in the back, we'll be able to get any more information than what HayfieldBay got.
Or just not even bothering with the front of escape.
You got the mirror, you can just come back around later. Like after. This is a bit of a gamble that there's nothing in escape that specifically one of the 2 gloves, but I don't hate it. Hayfield is going to give this fight a try.
I have heard from a lot of people that they feel like Tempered Sword showing up in the Light World is just like a giant red flag for Aga, right? Because like one sword lying around, you know, there's going to be a sword in Light World somewhere probably, but when you get to 3, it's like the seed has placed them in the Light World for a reason, and that reason is probably Aga. So that might be GGW's thinking here.
Yeah, I think so as well, especially with Lamp being accessible somewhat early. Hayfield just getting very poor RNG with how Helmsar King is just sitting on the left side of this pit. I think he's kind of stuck over on that side too for the rest of this fight, so it's going to have to be very careful. Blue mail does mean he could take one more hit.
I'm just refusing to cooperate here.
Does get through the fight though, nicely done. But what if there's a glove here?
Yeah,
Oh, it's just 10 arrows.
There we go. But does get a crystal, so that's out of the way and taken care of.
Yeah, now he's got that. He's just gonna have to sit and think about Hera Basement for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
That's another reason why I like GGW just not even bothering with the second shot at Helma after getting the lamp. 2 items are more than 1. You do have to do one of those checks whenever, or at some point before the end of the game. So, no reason not to give yourself a little more space for item density. And of course, GGW would prefer just to not have to do either check and just beat Helmasaur for the crystal to go immediately to Ganon's Tower at the end of the game.
Meanwhile, we've gotten through our Aga Tower run here, so once again, Mire is just such a high convenience item because, you know, we'll be over in that part of the world at some point for GGW to just mirror back and pick up that cane off of Lumberjack Ledge when you're, you know, checking Bumper Ledge or whatever in the North Dark world.
Yeah, and I don't think Hayfield scouted Lumberjack either. Only GGW knows that Samari is there.
Oh, yeah, I didn't notice because GGW checked it out right after grabbing that flute. So if HayfieldBay ran straight to the village to activate it, then.
All right, chat letting us know that Hayfield does know the secrets.
All right.
And just some bombs on the pyramid. And looking at what we have access to, it's just Pod.
Well, we can hammer down to Hype Cave at least.
Oh, that's right. We can get to Hype Cave and Dig Game and Stumpy.
And so then those flippers are a little bit interesting for a potential hookshotless swamp dip, everyone's favorite.
I'd prefer not.
I'm betting our runners would prefer not as well.
Hayfield finally getting that second sword, and let's see where this takes him. He's gonna get that third sword.
Good, that tempered is a big help on the Aga climb, so Hayfield won't lose any time on that one at least. I say tempered saves a lot of time on the Agahnim. It saves a lot of time basically everywhere in this game.
Yeah, the jump between Master and Tempered is very much the biggest jump between swords in the game.
Oh, and so HayfieldBay did not fake Flipper before, I believe, so is going to go do all of these Flipper checks. Also has Zora money, so
Yeah, how about a glove on Zora?
that would be spicy.
Yeah, I'm not sure when GGW would get back there.
The good news is with the Aga defeated and Mire in hand, you know, the catfish check will probably happen a lot sooner than it very often does.
That is true. Unless your other glove is somewhere very far away.
Very true.
GW gonna head south, take a look at Hype Cave. See how far it takes this, whether we're hopping into the swamp after a little dig game stumpy action. Doesn't look like other runners are going to have survivability issues this seed. Already at 10 and 11 hearts, respectively. Do you find a mushroom in Hype Cave and not much else?
Ooh, HayfieldBay might be going back in for this Hera basement.
Oh, this feels so bad. Oh, this feels really, really bad for Hayfield. You never want to, like, have 3 mountain climbs. Free glove. Burna in Cave 45. That will open up another check on the mountain in Spike Cave.
We found a lot of compasses early, so at least our runners will know what most of the bosses are when they get into these dungeons.
Yeah. And Hera basement is bad.
10 arrows dropping for both players there. And where is GGW going? More interested by Pendant Pod than Swamp, maybe? Or not necessarily Pendant.
Yeah,
But a pod that we can't...
GGW is a very skilled runner. Mimic Clip's definitely in his arsenal, so this isn't that much of a surprise.
Yeah, we just got 2 dungeons that we can't clear either one of, right? We can't get to the boss in either dungeon, so just going to have to pick one to potentially double dip at this point.
And Hayfield has decided to take Agahnem's Tower over Zora and Zora Ledge. So we'll never know if... we might know later if you needed to do one of those 2 things. But both runners are choosing the known Samaria over the unknown Zora area. We do find out that Palace of Darkness is a pendant. GGW has the map for that one. So the King of Samaria hard required. Either Misery Mire or Turtle Rock is a crystal.
Yep, so that guarantees that was a required Aga trip, regardless of where that glove turns up.
And so far, a pretty friendly layup for Bola's Palace of Darkness. There's the third small key, so the back is in logic. And Armos Knights are our boss here in Palace of Darkness. That one's not too bad.
You know, some days you're feeling lazy and you just want to shift over one dimension, but that's it.
That's right. I will travel one galaxy and no further.
So there is a very nice mimic clip from GGW.
So smooth.
The game is not super sophisticated about whether you've actually killed all the enemies in that room or not. If it can't see them, then they don't exist anymore.
That's a glove locked by a bow.
That is a fascinating little bit of logic going on there. Now, like you said, the back of pod is open based on our key layout, so maybe there's just a bow back there that would have opened up the right side anyway.
And the pod believers are rich yet again. Oh my goodness.
Both gloves showing up in pod. And once again, I feel like that's the seed wanting you to grab that first glove, go somewhere else, get a bow, and then come back for the second glove.
Yep.
This is an excellent video game.
Wonders never cease with this game, that's for sure. That's sword number 4 as well, why not?
I mean, no complaints from the runners, I'm sure.
No bow. It's that second glove not in logic, but who cares?
See a blind here at the end of Eastern Palace.
Nice cane dash from GGW to get through Cannonball Run. So that glove in the back in logic gives us access to the rest of main Dark World, your Village of Outcast area, your Skull Woods, your Thieves Town. And then those mitts also give us access to a bunch of checks on Dark Death Mountain. 3 right now, at least.
Indeed. I'm not totally surprised to see GGW Mire out of Eastern there off the right side. That second chest is a good place to sort of gracefully exit if you're kind of planning on a double dip. Just wanted to get some boss info and hedge against anything really good like a bow being in those first couple of checks.
Yeah, I don't mind that play at all. Looks like for a mushroom, you get a bunch of money. Nice little bit of routing here by GGW, taking the NMG portal to go get Samarian.
And Hayfield running back out of oh, the digging game. I was about to say this looks like a swamp play, but no, it's just going to mirror and flute away.
Going to take a look at that mushroom immediately. Get some money. Meanwhile, GGW going to take these ill-gotten mitts and take a look at the Mire area.
I believe we saw a Quake medallion for Mire entry today.
And Desert being a pendant, not surprised GGW is not going to finish this one out. It is a green pendant, so it is worth an extra item, but yeah, we're out of here. Oh, this is going to be our first look at Zora and Zora Ledge on Hayfield side. Meanwhile, GGW going to give us our first look at Skull Woods.
Just bombs on the ledge.
And Zora just giving you poorer investment options.
And so now Hayfield headed back into the Aga portal, probably headed over into Pod.
And not really anywhere else for Hayfield to go at this point.
Oh, nope. Gonna head down to Swamp first.
And there's Quake. Misery Mire open for GGW.
Full clearable now with that cane, and there is our bow.
That bow just ties everything together in a something you tie things up with. I don't know.
So yeah, that appears to be the logic, was grab one glove out of Pod, go get this bow, come back for more gloves.
Moldorm in Skull Woods Arena. That's one of the friendlier boss locations there.
Did we see the desert boss?
I don't believe we did. I don't think either runner's found a compass for desert yet.
Because the major boss shuffle issue, well, one major boss shuffle issue is thinking about our good friend Trinex and that ice rod. So you would love to see a Trinex in a pendant dungeon and maybe not have to worry about where that ice rod is.
Exactly.
Because you do not want to meet a Trinex on the GT climb and not be prepared to take it out.
Yeah, or worse yet, Ice Trinex.
Oh.
And Swamp Palace has our first Argus. So depending on if Swamp Palace is a pendant or not, this hookshot may be less required than normal as well.
Hayfield also got the early big key, which always feels good. But GGW is headed into the village of Outcasts.
There's this problem solver right there. There's that ice rod. So no filthy ice rod hunt. There's the second bow. Basically, the only thing Hayfield can find here in Swamp to kind of turn the tide a little bit would be a vanilla hookshot or a semi-vanilla hookshot.
Yeah, and that would be especially interesting because that would give him West Dark World access, so he could head over to Village of Outcast, find a bow or two, and then, you know, be able to do everything he wants to in Pod and Eastern all at once.
So keep giving us our heart.
A little bit of extra love never hurt.
A little bit's one thing. 14 hearts is another already.
HayfieldBay just has 2 items left where something spicy could show up here in Swamp Palace.
First prize is not very good for Hayfield. Last chance for Hayfield here in Swamp. That's a fire rod. That is quite a terrible place for a fire rod.
That is certainly a little spicy, at least. So let's see, that certainly blocks our access to the back of Skull Woods, regardless of what bosses are anywhere. That also causes us some problem in Turtle Rock. It's possible you can get through a lot of Turtle Rock without Fire Rod, but the keys have to be just right for that to happen.
Yeah, and that's our first weapon to kill Cold Stare with, too.
Also very true, and to get into Ice Palace. So yeah, locating that Fire Rod, definitely a big question mark for how GGW makes it through the rest of this seed.
Hard to answer any of those questions as of yet. We still don't have full pendant and crystal knowledge. We do know 2 of our pendants are Desert Palace and Palace of Darkness. GGW interesting choosing to do all of Thieves Town and not just going to the boss and then making a decision on the back. I don't hate it. There's There isn't a ton for GGW to do. There's Mire. There's a couple checks on Dark Death Mountain. And then there's finishing up Pod, which is a pendant. You don't really want to do that. Eastern Palace GGW does have the map. I don't know if we've gotten to see if that's a crystal or not yet. And there's our first cold stare. And Skullwood's is our last pendant. So that hookshot is going to be required.
Yes.
And either Fire Rod or Bombos are going to be required, both to get into ice and to beat Cold Stare in Thieves Town.
So a very slim chance of getting through this seed without Fire Rod. If Bombos shows up and Turtle Rock cooperates in a way that it rarely does.
There's Hayfield's first glove. The other one is just sitting in this dungeon. If Hayfield can mimic clip over to get it, doesn't really have any other options.
Yeah, we'll see if he opts into that. Having gotten the glove out of the back first, he might be less likely to do that and instead just mirror out and go chase the glove. But I think the bow might bring him back reasonably quickly.
We haven't seen these mitts really lock anything yet, and HayfieldBay will have that Fire Rod to beat Cold Stare in Thieves Town as well. So we'll end up double dipping Pod for the second glove, but we'll get other things done that GGW wasn't able to. We'll be able to do Skull Woods, finish that out if he so chooses. That is a pendant, so it's not the greatest, but we'll also be able to beat Cold Stare in Thieves Town.
Yeah, and so Hayfield won't have to go back to actually finish Pod, but will have to be back in the area to finish Eastern, which he has done all of except the boss.
Yeah, and by that point, he's not going to have much available that isn't mitts locked, so certainly going to hop back into Pod and take a look at those two items on the bow lock side then.
Yeah, this is the good news about sort of getting trolled by mitts, if you want to say it that way, or last locating them, is that you get to that point where it's like, well, mitts lock everything left in the game relatively quickly because they just, prevent you from doing so much. He can't do anything else on the mountain. He can't hit anything in the Mire area. So, well, I guess he's got Spike Cave left on the mountain, but good checks.
Yeah, I don't think Hayfield's going back up the mountain for just Spike Cave. Fresh checks for us in Misery Mine. Not much left on the table, just getting some compasses for the dungeon you just left.
I kind of like this play. HayfieldBay has a convenient time to go flute to pick up a blue potion and then come back right where he was. Magic is a big concern in boss shuffle because you never know when you're going to run into a cold stare at the end of a dungeon. So having that blue potion in your back pocket when HayfieldBay could just come back to that mirror portal is really nice.
Yeah, it really is. GGW got the big key out of Stalfo's chest, has decided to skip cutscene for now. My guess is if this is something that's required, which it is not, GGW will probably pass up on cutscene. It looks like he's going north, so he's just going to give up on cutscene anyways.
And I believe cutscene has to be an item, right? Because if there's a small key on the left side, then the big key also has to be there, but it was in the spike chest, is that right?
There could be a small key in cutscene still. And GGW will know that based on what the boss drops. I think there's one key left.
Oh, so the big key was on the left side. I see. Okay.
Yeah, big key was in Stalfo's chest.
It's going to be an ice rod for HayfieldBay.
I didn't see what the boss was here for GGW. The floor damage can make some of these boss fights a little trickier than normal. But does have powder. We'll be able to refill a bunch of health here. Blind is somewhat of a nasty one. You can choose to use some Aria blocks and kind of dash poke them across. GGW is going to use Burna to get through these cycles.
Yeah, if you don't have sword beams, there are no real ranged options for Blind, so he can just hang out there up in the poison. Not very sporting of him.
Wasn't able to get any hits on phase 3 with that Burna, but does get it done. And that's a small key, so I believe there is an item in cutscene chest. Whether he wants to go back in for it or not, who knows?
And definitely, I think the right play from HayfieldBay here is going to chase this fire rod that he spent so much time in Swamp to get.
But definitely want to get everything done in this area. Doesn't have knowledge that this is a pendant yet. Gonna be a little sad when pendant does drop on this boss, but two items back here, one on the boss and one in that bridge chest.
A single-eyed Moldorm.
There's enough eye bosses in this game. Moldorm had to donate one. Spike Cave is not the prize. And just a small key. So one item locked by the fire rod in Skullwoods.
Get a quick ped check as well while GGW is going back to finish Eastern Palace.
That's Uncle Bombs. That's nothing relevant. Now GGW is going to finish up Eastern Palace. Did skip out early on this dungeon, earlier in the seed, got the first 2 checks. Like you said, then it makes coming back in here really nice and easy. You don't have to worry about the right side. You still have stuff to do in this area. And Fire Rod only locks the bombs. Hayfield will get that Quake Medallion, though. We'll also get silver arrows.
Yeah, not a whole lot of payout for that Fire Rod just yet, but we'll be able to finish the Cold Stare fight, first trip into Thieves Town.
He's already taken care of that, and Pulsar did not drop anything of note in Thieves Town. So I think Hayfield at this point is kind of low on options again. Likely going to do Graveyard Ledge into King's Tomb into Catfish.
Then, like we said, we'll pretty much have nothing left but returning to Pod to get those myths.
Yeah, first off, also going to pick up Samaria off Lumberjack Ledge. Blind number 2. No more blinds this seed.
And of course, in Boss Shuffle, you can never really do this blind script, so you've got to fight him a bit more legitimately, but Blue Cane coming in very handy there.
Yeah, blind number 2 down for GanonsGoneWild, picks up 20 rupees, picks up crystal number 2. And just some more money in King's Tomb. We saw that already on GDW side, and HayfieldBay has got some decisions to make about where he's going next.
And back to Pod it is.
See if he decides to stick around and beat this dungeon for the last item. Does know that pedestal is nothing. And GGW looks like he's going to hop into Swamp, so that Fire Rod is not going to loot him forever.
Even without that hookshot, is running low on other dungeons that we could be getting to right now.
Yeah, at this point, we've got Potentially entering Turtle Rock without a fire rod for GGW. I'll have that fire rod shortly, and I assume he's going to send him up the mountain. But back of escape, this, a couple checks on Dark Death Mountain. More if you feel like you want to hover Hookshot Cave. At this point, our runners are looking for a hookshot and potentially bombos.
Field does have sword beams for his first blind fight that he's going to run into.
Keeping him through first two phases, too. That's pretty impressive. Crystal number 3 on the board for HayfieldBay.
So it does have that going over GGW, but the Hera trip will be really quick. The Thieves Town will be really quick as well when GGW gets this fire rod.
The fire rod will open up Ice Palace as well for GGW, and HayfieldBay will have it open as soon as he gets these mitts.
Oh no, the switch is in the wrong place for GGW, I think.
Did he forget to switch the switch? Uh-oh.
And of course the fire rod is on the side that he will have to backtrack to be able to get.
The bright side is I'm not sure what else there is for GGW at this point. I can't imagine he's going to leave without that item.
Yeah, at this point he's already invested, like it's worth the time to go back and hit the switch. And
HayfieldBay getting those mitts, decides not to finish Palace of Darkness. Going to hop in Ice Palace for 5 items.
there's the bad news.
Yeah, not leaving those. That's good. Nice icebreaker by HayfieldBay. Getting a small key that'll speed this dungeon up considerably. And Hayfield finding a compass, so we'll find out what the boss is here. And I think still missing hookshot. You just kind of have to take a look before you drop in. There's that fire rod for GGW. And GGW going to follow Hayfield into ice.
Where is this hook shot going to be? I guess feels like TR at this point.
Yeah, it does feel like it's likely going to be on the mountain. I think with the key layout we have here in Ice Palace, it could end up being on the boss.
Trying to think where our runners are going to go after this. HayfieldBay is probably thinking about Misery Mire, since the Mitts opened that up now. Guess we can't forget Hookshot could always just be hanging out in Hera basement. Oh no, HayfieldBay went back in for it.
Yeah, we do know that Hera basement's not the answer. At this point, Sky, I believe it has to be either back of Escape or on the mountain.
Oh yeah, we've gotten these clubs so late. I forgot the sewers were still there.
Or Helmsword King. That's always, or whatever the boss is in Palace of Darkness. I'm not sure if we've taken a look. It's Armos Knight, so it could be there. Vitreous, very easy without that floor goo.
A lot like Mothula, the real boss is the room that he's in.
And there's Bombos, so Turtle Rock entrance guaranteed. And thinking about bosses we haven't seen yet, we've not seen a Lamolus, we've not seen a Mothula, and we've not seen a Trinex.
I swear in Boss Shuffle Siege, Trinex is a bit of a diva. Really wants to make everybody wait before he makes his grand entrance.
Hayfield gonna clear out Mire. We'll see if he chooses to do cutscene chest or not. That is a check that GGW skipped. That also could be where our hookshot's at. GGW did get a key off of the boss, which I believe was the third key out of the dungeon. Nice thing about finding Bombos there is now Hookshot Cave is literally no reason to hover it. Either you find the hookshot there or you don't.
Yeah, GGW is 100% hookshot from Go Mode at this point. I assume this is a trip back into Thieves Town, is my guess.
Yeah, want to finish that up before you head up the mountain in case you just find your hookshot.
Ooh, HayfieldBay thought about heading out, but is... Oh, gonna hit the switch? What's happening? What is this Mire trip?
Going out the slow way. It's slow-ish. We're on 2 small keys. This means we pound 2 small keys in chests at this point. 1 in spike chest, 1 on the bridge. The boss has the 3rd small key, so there is an item in cutscene.
Yes, I believe that's correct.
And I blinked, and Cold Stare's dead.
The top right corner not quite as convenient with that angle there, but Gold Sword solves a lot of those problems in a big hurry. So yeah, looks like both of our runners are going to leave that cutscene item behind.
Hayfield may come back. This is, from his perspective, a 50-50 whether the cutscene chest has a small key or an item.
Yeah, so question in chat about why skip cutscene. Because if Vitreous has the last item, then the cutscene is a complete waste of time. And it is a waste of a lot of time, unfortunately. But you can always choose to come back in, which might be something Hayfield is thinking about. Not quite getting the spooky glitch to work there on the second room.
And GGW is going to head over to Dark Death Mountain. Can absolutely get into Trigger Rock, has all 3 medallions. Also has 3 checks in Super Bunny and the Bonkle chest in Hookshot Cave. Doesn't have to worry about the other 3 checks in Hookshot Cave ever mattering.
Get some Samaria strats for this particular blind fight.
It's absolutely the right decision to go to the boss first before checking cutscene chest, with the possibility of it being a small key, because we found the big key on the left side, and there's still 1 small key out there. After you find out the boss has a key, then you have a decision to make whether you want to come back in or not. I wouldn't be surprised to see HayfieldBay stay here.
Yeah, he's not officially skipped it yet. He's just potentially doing it after Vitreous.
Right.
But it, again, would also not be a wild choice to just flute away at this point. So
Absolutely not. GanonsGoneWild passing the skill check here of going south instead of north because you don't have a hook shot.
Remembering that you don't have a hook shot is right up there with remembering that all boss items drop in the middle of the room in boss shuffle.
And never gonna happen for me.
Uh-huh.
And goodbye cutscene chest for both our runners. Completely understandable here. You're playing the percentages.
So, out of the devs of this game, which one are you grumpier at? The one who invented Bonk Rock or Dead Rocks, or the ones who decided to put chain chomps in it?
Oh, Dead Rocks, 100%.
No question.
No, none. Not even like remotely close. Now, if there were chain chomps all over Death Mountain, maybe we could have a discussion, but
And I mean, I guess something has to be the single most annoying room in the game, so it might as well be that one.
yeah. Both the runners in Turtle Rock now. Hayfield Bay hopping in the front. GGW head to the back. No Mimic Cave play.
Yeah, GGW skipping Lava Chest, the Big Chest, and Mimic Cave.
Does he have the hook shot and we just don't know it?
This is just the logical extension of doing Viddy before cutscene chest. Just go straight to Trinex. Or, you know, whatever the boss is here.
All right. Laser Bridge Believers.
I mean, the Pendant Pod Believers have already had their day, so...
Laser Bridge Believers are in shambles. Not only did they get nothing to finish the dungeon, they made their game slower.
There's a lot of factions within the Link to the Past randomizer community. You know, your Red Boomerang versus Blue Boomerang, Pendant Pod versus not. I'm waiting for the Mirror Shield Defenders to come out of the woodwork.
First Landmo, and it's gone.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Just go straight to where the items are. Absolute big brain move from GGW, gets the hook shot off of that TR boss and is in go mode.
Oh, that is disgusting. Why would you check Mimic Cave? There's nothing there. Don't worry about it.
There's never anything in Mimic Cave. Prove to me that there ever has been.
Well, actually...
So we get a good sense of where we are in the race right now. GGW is a little bit ahead, grabbing that hook shot and heading to Swamp Palace. Does still have to finish a Helmasaur in Tower of Hera, which is a little bit more annoying than a typical last-minute Hera boss would be.
Yeah, even though having a gold sword, having all this health, having everything, you still got to get through phase 1 of Helmasaur, and it's still very slow in that arena. So, probably the worst of the 5 bosses that can be there, honestly. In this situation, at least. We still have not seen a Trinex, and there's only 2 places it could be. Meanwhile, Hayfield Bay cannot get away from checking lava chests, cannot get away from checking some of these extra checks that GGW managed to skip out on.
And with no chest to open in Swamp Palace, GGW almost to the boss.
Yeah, the only thing you can see at this point that could make the game any easier is half magic, and who cares?
Yeah, we've got silvers. We don't even need to worry about the torch glitch in the Ganon fight.
And Argus in Swamp Palace. I feel they scouted this one a little bit earlier. The only big difference here, GGW does have an extra dungeon to do. HayfieldBay has a blue potion in his inventory. I don't think GGW has a potion at all. So if we do end up with like an Ice Shrine X, that could make things interesting. And just as I said that, GGW going to pick up some blue goo before making the climb.
Hayfield will also have a similarly quick trip back through Swamp Palace, but still will have to climb the mountain again, as GGW is doing right now. We should warn Chad ahead of time that the trip from the 7th Crystal to Ganon's Tower is going to be real quick for GGW, so be thinking about those GT Big Key guesses right now.
Yeah, you're going to have like 10 seconds to put your pencils to paper.
Nice little pause buffers on the Hera pot there. And GGW's got a fun Helmasaur to deal with.
This fight is just no fun. Very easy to take a surprise trip down the middle hole.
And there you see those shots of Helma's mask just not taking damage while he's over that pit.
Silver Arrows does make phase 2 much faster than HayfieldBay's effort earlier in the seed, though. Crystal number 7 for HayfieldBay. Crystal number 7 for GanonsGoneWild.
Nice of our runners to give us this comparison here, as GGW is ahead by pretty much exactly one Death Mountain climb.
And pencils up for your GT Big Key guessing game guesses, and pencils down for your GT Big Game guessing Big Key guessing game guesses. One of you will win the adulation of your friends, your family, a trip to Taos, all expenses paid by Adirondack Rick, and everyone else get a copy of the Link to the Past home game randomizer. And that's the story. It's check number 5. And everyone's favorite Kaizo enemy in Super Mario World, Fishing Boo. Fishing Boo winning the guessing game. Enjoy all that internet credibility. And GGW going to start making the climb as HayfieldBay just now getting into Ganon's Tower.
And really unlikely to be able to gain any time on that big key search. Maybe a few seconds if he skips Hope Room, which looks like he might be doing.
Oh, Crazy Sunshine also put in 5 as well before Fish and Boo, so you get all that internet cred, Crazy Sunshine.
Everyone take back your internet cred from Fish and Boo and give it to Crazy Sunshine.
I will still give Fish and Boo a little cred. I always enjoy the appearances from that enemy in Super Mario World, so...
And no Trinex for us today.
Yeah, no Trinex. Gotta assume that one is in Ice Basement, which no one needs to visit. Very quick climb from GGW so far. HayfieldBay right on his heels.
Yeah, and that's the thing about these long, sort of drawn-out seeds, right, is that you've just got so much equipment by the end of it that not a whole lot is going to go wrong for runners of this caliber in GT when you've got Butter Sword and Silvers.
Exactly. And based on what we've seen so far, we know this boss's identity is going to be Mothula. And without spikes in the room, pretty easy fight, but these sword beams are causing GGW to throw a few extra hits in.
Not showing us the Mold on 2 chest.
Yeah, no reason. No reason to take a look at that.
The memes, though. The memes.
And you got a race to win. If you're skipping 3 chests in Turtle Rock, you're skipping meme chests, that's for sure. Three, two, one contact, and GGW is on his way to Ganon.
Yeah, neither runner wasting any time through these GT climbs, but GGW retaining that lead.
Ganon fancying himself as a fan of the police today. And Gold Sword makes an easy free as you please 1-1. Hayfield threw Agahnim too quickly as well, but not much standing in the way of GGW at this point. These teleport patterns from Ganon are going to be the same for both runners.
And intentional non-torch glitch there to set up that double, and there is the 4th arrow into Ganon.
Get your GGs ready in chat for Ganon's Gone Wild. A real close one today, but GGW picks up the win in game 1 of this series. An official time of 1 hour, 36 minutes, and 11 seconds thanks to racetime.gg. And I don't know if we're going to commence some ranting about the seed, but we'll see if GGW wants to join us in the booth here in just a moment. And GGW joining us is HayfieldBay on 1 heart going through phase 3 of this Ganon fight.
GG.
GG's.
Yeah, that was not a fun seed.
We'll get in the meat of it in a second here. HayfieldBay into phase 4. Back teleport, that's a little scary, but nicely done by HayfieldBay. Get your GGs ready in chat for Hayfield as well. About to process finish line and put this race to bed. But, official time of 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 23 seconds. GG's to HayfieldBay.
And I guess we've got to start by talking about that TR decision. Skipping those 3 checks.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a result of, like, I didn't feel great going into Swamp, and then when I screwed up in Swamp, I was like, I just have to be behind. There's, like, no way I'm not behind at this point. Like, I don't have a lot left. Everything I have left is terrible, and I just wasted, like, I don't even know how long that wastes, like 90 seconds or something. So, I don't know. At that point, I didn't have many opportunities to try to make skips or cut corners, but that was one. At that point, it's like, if you're behind, you might as well just lose by an hour. It doesn't really matter. So I'm completely fine taking those risks.
And we've got HayfieldBay with us in chat as well. GG's to you.
GG's.
This was a little bit wonky early on. A lot of back and forth with the seed, you know, with the book up on Death Mountain to a sword back down the mountain, back up for the lamp, all of that sort of stuff. How did you guys feel about this one early on?
Also definitely weird.
Yeah, it's a bit strange, but the nice thing was that you knew the cane was at Lumberjack, I think, or something. Or no, we didn't find that out till later. Or when did we did scout that at some point because we
Yeah,
needed
I
to get
think
the
you both
boot.
scouted right after Bonk.
Yeah, so you knew that Aga was potentially, like, almost certainly going to be required. So it didn't feel bad to do Aga once you got the stuff.
Totally agree with that. Just do Aga whenever you can after the lamp. And yeah, so I could choose between like Swamp Palace and Pod. So I decided to just go Swamp. I have been in Eastern already in the before Aga, so let's try and to get a little bit lucky in with that. And I got the fire road left side. That was pretty nice. But that made me do Skull Woods. At the time, I didn't know the rest of the layouts. I took a chance with that.
Yeah, that was a very interesting choice early on because GGW, you went into Pod sooner, and also Mimic Clip to get both of those gloves the first time around. Whereas Hayfield, yeah, you wound up getting the earlier Fire Rod, but the later Pod trip.
Yeah, I knew that. I was pretty sure that he didn't mimic clip, and there was no bottles available really, it seemed like, anywhere. So I was like, that's such a terrible spot, especially since it was a pendant dungeon. Like, it's just like, when do you go back for that? So I felt really good about that early on.
And my thought about I know how to mimic clip, but I felt like there's going to be a key there and one item. What are the others? So we got the glove in the back there, so I'm actually going to skip it. It's a pendant anyway now, so but I had to go back there. So, but I'm glad I routed in next time. Just Pod and Eastern together. We didn't have the myths yet, so might be a risk that is there. Plan to do the mimic side into the boss, but then left after the myths.
Yeah, hard to justify hopping into that dungeon or continuing on after finding those myths. Both of you made decisions to skip out on Mire Shed, or not Mire Shed, but the last chest of Misery Mire after trips. It made a lot of sense for both of you at the time. Was that on your mind at all? You were making the climb up to Turtle Rock.
It's just like when you skip it, you just kind of live and die by the skip there. Like, I don't know, like, it's, well, actually, since the big key was compass chest, I think it could be a small key there. So you weren't sure initially when you go in. Normally, map and compass, it's probably just an item, but I don't know. I was just like, at that point, I'm just like, either I find the item in TR or I like probably just lose.
Yeah, but I'm not that worried about cutscene chest and that part. Yeah, there's an item there, but we have to go up to TR next, so there's no way we are going back there until last.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense in the way the seed played out. So, anything else either you have to add about this seed? I know you've got another game scheduled tomorrow at this time.
Not really. I'm just glad that I don't think MC boss is possible for our next matchup, or MC whatever.
It is not, no.
So, yeah, I've got this mode like many times, so I'm ready for not this mode.
Yeah, I don't know what I feel about this mode. Like, yeah, it's kind of okay, but there are might be some obstacles in the way, like the ice rod for Trinex, and you go all the way in the climb, and oh, there's a Trinex. But yeah, not my favorite mode as well, this one, so it will be interesting to see what we get tomorrow.
Yeah.
It certainly feels pretty high variance of if you take a long trip to a boss room and then can't finish the dungeons. So
pretty much.
Well, yeah, I think that seems like it's going to do it for us today. Thanks to both of the runners for putting on a great show. GG's, and good luck in Game 2 coming up.
Yeah, thanks, GG. Thanks for doing comms, and thanks to Restream. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
GG's, and yeah, see you tomorrow.
Yeah, and be sure to give these fellow runners a follow. Our speed gaming bot a little tired after all these races, so no links in chat. But give GanonsGoneWild and HayfieldBay a follow, and they'll be racing again tomorrow at 4:10 Eastern. Coming up this evening on this channel at 8:10 Eastern, the other side of this this portion of the bracket, Telethar and Ace0 in game 2. That'll be right here. I'll find out the Telethar's up 1-0. So that should be a good one to watch. And that's going to be it for main tournament action today. But tomorrow, there's 10 races on the schedule. Could be more showing up. We'll see how many of them get restreamed. But fun race. Really close. Basically what you want to see in one of these races, Papa.
Yeah, some really interesting decisions on both sides, and was pretty close right down to the end there. So gotta love it. That means the rest of this match is going to be really interesting as well. So be sure to keep an eye on those.
Yeah, that's going to be it from us today. I also want to give a big shout out to our tracker, Kiff, keeping things orderly and organized for us as we go through. Yeah, give GGW, give HayfieldBay, give Kiff a follow, give Cool Papa Bell a follow, and throw me one too as well. Who knows? But that's going to be it for us today. Once again, come back in later tonight for the other side of this bracket. And we'll be back on the comms again sometime soon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.